joining us via Zoom.
Oh,
Is Pam on?
Pam on?
She's a Zoom.
I'm here.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yes, I'm here.
Can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can. I'm going to mute unless I need to speak so that, you know.
Okay, so if we vote on something, Pam, I need you to give me the high sign or something.
And give yellow if they can.
We ready? All right. It's 5 o'clock. Let's get started. We do have a quorum. We'll declare the meeting open. This time, I'm going to ask Deputy Mayor Darren Holland if he'll lead us in the pledge and invocation.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shall we pray? Lord in heaven, we come to you today with our heads bowed and our hearts humbled, thanking you for all that you do and all that you will continue to do for us. Appreciate and thank you for all of the blessings that you have bestowed upon this city, this council, the staff, and most of all, Lord, our first responders. As we exit this building today, Lord, I pray that everyone makes it home from any hate, harm, or danger, and make it home safe to their families. In your name, we do pray, Lord. Amen.
Amen.
All right, thank you. All right, council, we have the minutes of the regular city council meeting of March 1st.
Move to approve the minutes for March 1st.
Second.
Motion approval, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. Thank you. At this time, we'll take any citizen comments. Anybody want to speak to the council regarding any of the agenda items this evening? Okay, if not, we'll move on to the special presentation. Melissa, if you'll come up, please. So every year, this has become a tradition to come to our wonderful libraries. But we have again received the 2020 Achievement of Excellence in Libraries Award from the Texas Municipal Library Directors Association. What this means is only the top 10% of libraries in the state of Texas receive this award. So once again, year after year, we continue to set the bar as far as libraries. So with that, Melissa, I do want to present this to you, to your staff. I know you've got some staff here, but I do want to present this to you and tell you congratulations once again. You want to say a few words and recognize your wonderful staff.
Actually, my staff members, they can stand up.
And I'll be quick. I just wanted to say this recognition is always great, but more importantly, it helps build awareness to all of the things the library has to offer. In order to be eligible for this award, we have to show examples of services provided from 10 areas. A few of these categories include reaching an underserved population through special collections or services, providing educational programs and services for adults and children, working with other community organizations, and digital inclusion. So I just want to say thank you to our awesome library staff for their hard work, to city management for their support, and to the TMLDA, the city council, and the mayor for this recognition. Thanks.
Thank you, and congratulations to you and your entire staff on that great award. All right, we are to the consent agenda. These items are considered to be routine and will be enacted in one motion without discussion unless a council member or citizen requests a specific item be discussed and voted on separately. The consent agenda includes items F9, F10, F11, F12, F13, 14, H6, H7, H8, H9, and H10. Would anyone like any of these separated for any reason?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to remove resolution number 6724 F14.
F14, we'll talk about it separately. Anything else? Don't see any others, so
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve consent.
Second.
With the exception.
With the exception of F14.
okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, we'll come back to F14.
Want to discuss now?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So I just wanted to remove this one and give Shane Graham with Texoma Roofing and reached out to me, and he's here today, and I just wanted to give him an opportunity to speak and kind of give us a little more information about this bid for the fire station.
Good evening.
Good evening. If you'll state your name and address for the record, please.
I'm Shane Graham with Texoma Roofing and Construction, 248 North Travis Street here in Sherman, Texas. And when we went and submitted our bid and went to the opening, it's all real vague, you know, they give you the company's name, they give you the number, but nothing's discussed about how it's bid, materials used. You don't know anything. I don't know what the awarded contractor here is even putting on, because it's not disclosed. But what we want to do is just enlighten y'all about the materials that we offer, and also let you know that the insurance company that insures the building prefers a different product if a little research is done. And there's reasons why. And we'll start with the big, huge fire in Denison. We're all aware of that, right? Downtown. One building went up, and the other ones. Well, there's a reason why. And the reason why is because this is the roofing material that was on those buildings. And I've actually spoke to Fire Chief Greg Lloyd about this when they were investigating everything. What this is kind of Class A fire rating, but what you don't know is when this is lit on fire, which we're prepared to do in today, this will flame up like a fire starter in your fireplace. It's unbelievable. But this product will not. It'll literally burn up through the roof. It'll catch on fire. And when the fire's out, it'll go away. While this right here, fire just crawled underneath the roof, crawled over to the TPO on the next roof, and just kept on going. And this is why this product is actually recommended. And I actually brought the rep with me who sells this product. He knows everything about it. He also knows TML is pushing this product. He can tell you the towns that they put this on. And we just also wanted to mention that in the bid we actually gave a Class 4 upgrade, which is new for single ply products, which should be looked at considering your insurance company, what they would like for y'all to do or suggest that y'all use. And then above that, what else? Missing some points, but
You want me to
yeah,
jump
yeah,
in?
yeah.
Hi, my name's Buddy Wilson. I'm a Duralast roofing manufacturer. I've been with the company since '84. That's 37 years. This is my only job I've ever had, and I sell direct to contractors. We don't go through distribution. We prefabricate. What that means is we do most of the labor in-house. The roofing business is sold through distribution. A contractor goes over to ABC Supply, picks up his materials, manufactures them in the elements, and you're left with as good as their labor is. Well, we decided to, long before I started, we're a 42-year-old company, prefabricate. And what that means is we make large panels. And what that does is minimize the workmanship. And then we also do the stack flashing, the curb flashing, the wall flashing, the edge details, the gutters, the scuppers, the overflows, the drains, the gutters, you name it, we supply it. That way, if there's ever a problem, We don't have any of this going on, okay? So instead of me going to all 1,700 different cities, I went to TML and gave the same presentation that I'm giving you. And they said, well, this is our number one thorn in the side, is roofing cost. Hailstorms are killing our business. Prior to 2010, there was maybe one storm, two storms a year. The data after that, for the last 11 years, has significantly increased. So it was costing them about $1,500 a square to re-roof a building. And when we discussed our cost, it was a lot different. And they looked at what we were doing and why we were doing it. And what we did is we gave them a Class A fire rating, which he discussed. We gave them a proven manufacturer that single sources it. If it has metal, we also cover the metal. MBCI makes our metal. We do not make that, but this product we make from powder, okay? And then we come out as a manufacturer and warranty that. So after he gets finished, we have to probe every seam that he does to make sure it's watertight, because we insure the contents of the building against water damage. So that's something else that nobody else does that we offer. Okay, so there's a huge difference in your choice of roofing materials, and we just wanted to let you know that we are local. We're made out of Carrollton, Texas. I also have a plant in Oregon, have one in Michigan, have one in Iowa. We're all over the United States. And if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer anything you'd like to discuss. As far as the hail, it's the highest you can get to go with class 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 being the highest hail rating you could get. Every roof that we install for TML, including their corporate headquarters, has got this on it. The city of Allen's got it on it. Little Elm's got it on it. Anything that's had a hailstorm in the last 5 years has got this roof on it. Okay.
Well, and the warranty. So the bid that was submitted came with a 15-year NDO warranty that's provided by Duralex. Texoma carries the first 2 years. After that, the corporation carries the warranty. So if it leaks 10 years down the road, they send out their specialist who takes care of it. And the content warranty, as far as damage to the inside of the building, nobody else does it that I've ever heard of. And I've got licenses in multiple single ply products. It's the best one on the market. There's nothing close. So anyway, this product right here, we can go all day, but this product here, I don't know what was bid, but this is what's going on a lot of your roofs here in Sherman. Fire catches on downtown Sherman, you got these TPO roofs, well, they're taking them up and they're overlapping them over the, this is what, when you get a fire, it's what causes it to crawl the next building. This here prevents them. It's just something we want to bring life to.
Sir, with what you turn in for your quote for the city on your bid, was that the roofing
This is,
material that you
Yes,
did?
ma'am.
Okay.
that is correct.
Who received the bids? What department?
So our finance and purchasing area of that department received bids.
And who wrote what the requirements were?
That was done through our building maintenance department, and I don't know if fire department had say in that, but they probably relied on our building department to develop the specs, which were the same. I mean, we've used these specs for other buildings very recently as well, the police station and some other animal. Yeah, I don't know what the list, but so the specs that we used were specs that are industry standard specs and things that we've used in the past.
One thing that I'm concerned with is one of your first comments was that you didn't know what the specifications were. You didn't use that wording, but
Correct. I can't remember at this point.
okay, are you just
We bid
saying
it.
you didn't know or you don't remember?
Well, I don't remember. And I knew we bid it as a single ply. I'm sure that's what the other people bid it as. The bids were all over the place. Some of them could have been multiple different applications, really. This product here is designed for a layover. On that building there, basically, you take the rock off, we were gonna put down a hardboard, which makes it impact resistant. And this product goes in, and they come out and they inspect the work. Any changes that we made, we gotta make it, they can use the certificate of warranty on the spot, once it's done.
This is brand specific. It's like Coca-Cola's brand is.
I understand that, but my understanding is the specs that we requested wasn't a specific product. So I think you need to come back with
They-
saying that that's what you want, because once we get a bid in I mean.
No, I understand. Yeah,
So-
this is more of a chance to get in here and let you know, like, what we're learning with your insurance provider,
Right,
okay? The direction they want to go. This ain't even really about this bid, okay? This is about the future. And
it was a
this-
chance to get in.
Yeah,
there.
it's a good chance to come in and explain. This is also, I'm telling you, Greg Lloyd, I'm sure y'all know him. A lot of people know the fire chief, Dennis, and he's a good friend of mine. We talked about this in length. Right before COVID, we was gonna do a big demonstration where we lit this piece on fire, and we tried to light this one on fire right in front of it. And then COVID hit, and everything pushed that back, and then they had the fire too, and everything was just chaotic. And I just hadn't got a chance to get back with it.
What this EML typically does after there's a loss, whether it's fire, wind, hail, regardless of what it is they call a roof consultant. The roof consultant has to manufacture the investigate the situation, write the specification, give it back to the consultant puts it out for bid. But what they do is they go through what's it's called tips and taps. It's a vehicle that can be used by going directly to you without going to mothership. In other words, not let everybody in town bid on your product or your roof system. If you know what you want, like if you got a school bus, you want Michelin tires, this gives you a way to buy Michelin tires without advertising it and ended up with Goodyear tires.
Right.
So that's what we're doing. The roofing is going the same direction. And that's what the email was saying. This is what we want. We want to go through tips and taps. They bid it through the manufacturer versus going through the contractor. So we got a direct line for us.
Right, which we are tips and taps vetted. But anyway, we could go through the lighting process. I don't know that y'all want to do that, but we were prepared.
Yeah, this is,
It is
you guys
pretty-
do know this is a concrete structure, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
the city system is a fully adhered system.
Okay. I appreciate the Denison Fire Marshal, but we're certainly more interested in what our fire marshal has to say. And I'm sure that if it's going on the fire station, he's already reviewed the specifications. So, council, we'll take this under advisement. Do you have any other questions?
I just wanted to make sure that we weren't that they understood what they were bidding on. That's what my point was.
Well, Shane, I appreciate the information for future bids. We may want to look into that in some way, and you know, that's good info. So
I think definitely that's something that we ought to put on our
Well,
list of products to review and see, and if that's something that, and then that's something we expect.
And Robbie, what's the, and I know this bid's kind of, we're here already, for the people who may be interested in bidding on our jobs, what's the normal Sherman percentage basis that the low bidder wins on if they're a Sherman business versus another city?
So there used to be a local preference that was 3 or 5%, but I think for a large number of things, that preference has been taken away. I'm looking at Mary. And
Okay.
so I think what I just said was correct.
And then when we were second lowest bid, which
Yeah.
if we was way higher, we'd back to the drawing table. Since we were so close, time to come in and really kind of do a good thorough explanation and talk about the insurance carrier, which is important. You know, something to dig into.
And if you think, I mean, just then for the future, for knowledge, what's the price gap between, let's say, that roof and a TPO roof, just as an example, typically?
On this one here, we were $6,000 higher. Now, again, you don't know what was on the other sheet, but want to do enlighten it. Our bid came with a hail-resistant application on top of a 15-year NDL warranty provided by the manufacturer that also covers the contents.
That's good info.
Get to the scanning. The TPO roof, which was apparent low bidder, cost 37 cents a square foot. I'm $1.10. Okay, a square foot. Then you get into the accessories, screws, plates, caulking, edge detail. That's provided by others, and that's really when you get in trouble is they use something very inexpensive because there is no approval process. They just stamp it, and then they say we didn't supply that, so we didn't warranty that. And you don't know it until you have an issue. That's when you have the problem. And just something I want to point out, I don't just do cities. I'm on every corner in the United States. The reason I say that is I do every Chick-fil-A, I do every Buc-ee's, I do every 7-Eleven, I do every Stripes, I do every Chili's. I can stand here and just talk about what I do all day long, but I'm on every corner in the United States, basically.
We're learning about it here. Which is pretty impressive.
Appreciate you.
Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
Shane.
Yeah, appreciate
All
you.
right, thanks a lot, Shane.
Thanks, Shane.
Okay.
All right, council, we get a motion on F14.
I guess I'm gonna move to table it and ask Robbie to do a little review and let us know. Can we do that?
So I would, you either have to accept the bids that were submitted or reject all bids and rebid it
Yeah, we can't.
because there were specifications that everyone complied to and bid on.
So the options here would be to reject all of them and rebid it. Now, we did, just for clarification, we did have responsive bids that met the bid specs that we have.
Well, I understand that, but these gentlemen here are telling us that our bid specs aren't good because the product they could put on the roof is inferior. That's what they're saying. So.
That's what they're saying, but
well, our bid specs were clear. They were clear on what we wanted, and they presented a product that was not in compliance with, or that they weren't able to demonstrate or didn't demonstrate that was in compliance. It may be the best thing since sliced bread, but all the other bidders were responsive. TML based also, we talked to them, they said, hey, both products are Class A rated. You know, TPC and this PVC based product is, they're both acceptable, they're both used. And so I don't mind doing that if there's a direction on the council to reject these bids and go back.
Legally, can we do that though? I mean, that's my concern.
I think you could probably table the item if that was the direction of council and get more information about what the bid specs included or didn't include, and you could use that to determine whether to reject all bids at a later time. But to Clint's point, to Robbie's point, I think the options in terms of dealing with this specific bid is either to reject all bids today or at a future time, or go with the contractor that received the best bid.
And so, does anyone in the room know, did we submit this out for a TPO bid? That was the specs of the bid? Okay.
Yeah, there was a
Mary's
page.
saying, yes, we did. So if we did,
Well, that's what I'm saying. If we do table it, we can wait 2 weeks to reject the bids. We're not rejecting anything by tabling it. We're just saying we'll put it on pause for 2 weeks. And then
Correct, but by pausing it, there's no way to not accept the low responsive bidder based on the specifications. of the
without
bid
rebidding.
That was advertised.
Yeah. Yep.
okay.
So,
Well, then maybe somebody will make a motion that you want.
So Josh, just to be clear, your motion is to table it, do some due diligence, and if we think that we're okay with the specs of the bid, the way we had it bid, we approve bidder as it was presented, but
Yeah.
otherwise.
Absolutely.
We
We're
may
just hitting
revisit.
pause for 2 weeks. We're not rejecting anything other than to say maybe somebody should
Look, this
call
is-
TML or something or do something.
Listen, we asked for a specific roof that we've received bids for. We received several bids, over 8.
I think there's
12.
12, we received 12 bids on. Nobody asked us beforehand. There wasn't any confusion from any of these bidders based on what we asked for.
Well, I don't know. I'm unfamiliar with our bidding process.
I think we've been invited with possibly a better product.
State law,
Yeah.
state law governs the way we bid our work.
I understand.
And we complied with what state law says we have to do. And yeah, there's 100 other better roofs that we could spec on this building. We could get a cold tar roof. We could get a 4 or 5 built up roof. There's a bunch of them out there. And the question is, you know, do we want to spend more money than the roof that we asked for? And if the council says yes, you know, then we reject all the bids tonight and we
Money's not
Open up
even
our
the
specs.
issue for what I'm looking at. There's not enough many difference in that. My issue is, we put the bid out, or we
Yep.
put I mean, because he's right. I feel like if the product is better, in the future, we have that information. But he met what
Nobody
was
did. I was trying to give them a lifeline. Nobody wanted to take it, so.
Somebody make a motion to approve.
So is there a motion?
So Josh has a motion for a second. To table it. I'll second his motion, see what happens.
Clint, does this put us outside of our timeline on the bid?
I don't know how long we have. Typically, if we extend something, then we leave it up to the low bidder to honor their price. And if they don't, then they can bow out. But I don't, tabling it shouldn't affect the timing of that.
Can I ask for clarification on when you might want it tabled to, if it's the next meeting or a future?
Till the next meeting. Yeah. Good. Table it and then instruct city management to maybe enlighten us a little bit on the bidding process and how that relates to materials. And then we can come right back. But at least we'll have the option to learn a little bit more.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, Josh, is I don't disagree. If the product's better, then that, I feel like we need to go with a better product. But at this point, we have to take the information that we've been given for the future and go with the bid that met the qualifications.
And I
I mean,
agree
I
with
don't
you.
have a dog in the fight, but I'm just saying legally, they've met the requirements.
So let me ask you, if we put the motion out there and and it's declined, or there's no moving backwards on this particular item to put another proposal out, another motion?
Yeah, we have to,
Rewrite the whole.
Well, it's had a motion in a second, so that allows for a vote to occur.
If the
So
vote fails,
Calls
if
for a
it
vote.
fails.
If it fails, then you can come back with a different
Okay.
motion,
Fair enough.
or you can take no action, which has the effect of not awarding it.
No, we
But-
can't come back with another
So
motion.
you,
no.
yes, you can.
Is a no action on it equivalent to a rejection of the bids?
No.
So it just stays
It
on
would stay pending as an
kind of
item.
in
that would-
limbo indefinitely?
Yes, theoretically, if there is no motion to either reject all bids, the motion to table is denied, and there's no motion to reject or motion to approve, then there would be no approval of the award, and so it's left out there. At some point, though, I think practically
Sure,
speaking,
yeah.
you need to reject the bids.
Well,
Yeah.
just to clarify, I second the motion just to get it moving so we can get on down the road to the other items. And if it fails, then we can make another motion and keep moving here, but, so.
if it won't put us out of our bid, let's just table it and keep on trucking, because I don't hear anybody making another motion.
Well, I did want to point out to the council that this is a little bit of a slippery slope in that whenever we competitively bid our projects, we issue plans and specs, the contractors turn in based on those plans and specs. Now, once we open the door to going back and re-qualifying the products in each of our bids, then you're going to open the door here. And it's not going to be helpful.
I understand and I agree, but I don't see any other way forward, Mr. Mayor.
we didn't get a motion to approve it as written unless somebody else has one hanging that they're ready to put out there.
Well, we can't,
Well,
we've got to deal with the motion
Right.
second on the table. So we have a motion and second to table it. All in favor of that?
Aye.
Three? Okay.
No.
Okay, so.
I have a name.
who's opposed? So you're opposed to?
Yes.
Okay. So.
Okay, Councilmember Holland
It's
was in favor of
3-3, so I'll
tabling,
be opposed as well.
I'm opposed.
opposed.
Yes.
Okay. And Councilmember Melton?
Opposed.
So now there's no motion on the table.
Okay.
We're back to no motion on the table.
So
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to make a motion that we proceed with the vote now on this bid and that we accept this bid because we're changing what was expected. And we would have to give an opportunity for all of the bids to be reworked, and that's going to take time. And I think in all fairness, we ought to just proceed now on this one. And in the future, we can look at this specific product.
Second.
I second that.
Okay, we got a motion, a couple seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, all opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay. I'm gonna vote yay. I'm gonna vote yes on that. Motion carries. So, all right, thank you. All right, we are to public hearing. Linda, if you'll read E1 for us, please.
Accept public comments and discuss that certain petition requesting establishment of public improvement district dated January 27, 2021, requesting that the city create the Bel Air Village Public Improvement District to include property owned by the petitioners located entirely within the corporate limits of the city.
Thank you, Linda. Robbie?
Yeah, so this item as well as item F1 are partner items. F1 is the public hearing to the resolution 6711, both relating to creation of the public improvement district at the Bel Air planned development. And as you might remember back in the first meeting in February, the council accepted the petition for the creation of this district. Some time had to pass, as well as some notice requirements to publish notice of this public hearing. And so this is the first meeting that we could have this public hearing to consider establishment of the public improvement district. In general, the public improvement district provides opportunities for developers to recoup some of their costs for public infrastructure like roads, water, sewer, drainage, et cetera. And this action by the council to hold a public hearing and then a resolution to create it is necessary for us to take next steps. There'll be a few more steps before it's actually implemented. And those would include review of a service and assessment plan at a future date, most likely in second meeting in April. Also, there'll be an ordinance required for the levy, the special levy that would happen as a result. So, and both of those finals would probably come back first meeting in May. So these two items are your next two items in this process to create the public improvement district for Bel Air.
I have a question.
Mhm.
The petition requesting the establishment says 60%. And now I may be ignorant, but.
Yeah, so it's 100% of the property owners requested this. The statute just requires that a minimum, a certain threshold be met. And so in this case, 100% of the property owners meet the threshold of majority here.
The majority,
Yeah.
but we're saying 50% over there and then more than 60% over here.
Yeah, the resolution is what carries the day on this. And I think the 50% was in the
The
ACF.
actual petition. No,
Oh,
the 50% is on the ACF. The petition is the one that has the 60%.
Yeah, and so the petition and the resolution are always going to carry the day. So 60% is is the, what the petition met the 60% that's required. And I do see the ACF says 50%. That probably should say 60%. Yeah.
But it.
So it meets both of those. Yeah.
But the resolution itself says 50.
Yeah. So section 372 of the law is what requires this, and 100% meets both of them. So it meets all of the requirements of the law.
I just wanted it to go on record.
It's just one property owner, and that one property owner is 100%.
I just wanted to.
Gotcha. Just clarify, is it 50 or 60%?
Correct.
Gotcha.
So it did come out with it being 50% or 60%?
Well, it's 100.
It's 100%, so.
Yeah, so we're 100%.
Let's.
We're clear on it.
Okay.
I mean,
We'll
we've
have our
met the
time in
coverage
just a moment.
limits.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anyone here to address this item this evening? Okay. Linda, if you'll read E2 for us, please.
Ordinance 6365, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sherman relating to Greater Texoma Utility Authority Contract Revenue Bonds, Series 2021 City of Sherman Project, and approving the issuance thereof, the notice of sale prepared in connection with the public offering of the bonds, and the facilities to be constructed or acquired by such authority, finding that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed was noticed and is open to the public as required by law.
Thank you, Linda. Here she comes. Good evening, Mary.
On March 11th, our revenue bonds for our utility system improvements were bid out. The Greater Texoma Utility Authority takes care of the bond issuance on our behalf. And we have really good news, and Drew Satterwhite from GTUA is here to tell you about the sale of the bonds.
Mayor, Council, thank you for having me here today. As Mary mentioned, we opened bids on March 11th. We received 9 bids, which was actually about twice of what we were expecting. Received a 1.99% interest rate on a 25-year note, which was very, very good. Though excluding the Texas Water Development Board's federally subsidized funds, we've never received an interest rate this low on the open market. So it was a great deal. This is credited, I'd say primarily, I mean, kudos to city staff and council. You guys got an A+ rating from Standard & Poor's. They reaffirmed your A+ rating. And then obviously there was some luck involved, timing of going to market there for that interest rate. But pending the council's adoption of this ordinance, we're set to close on April 13th.
All right.
Be happy to try to answer any questions you
Okay.
have.
Thank you, Drew. Thanks, Drew. We'll get with you in just a moment. All right. Is there anyone here?
Question that. I mean,
Huh?
it's hard to have any questions on one.
It is. I mean, it's unbelievable. Is there anyone in the audience to speak to this item this evening? Anybody want to improve that bid? No? Not tonight? All right. Linda, if you'll read E3 for us, please.
Ordinance 6366, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Sherman amending Chapter 10 of the Code of Ordinances, Subdivision Regulation, Article 10.04, Engineering Plan Review, Inspection and Testing Services, Section 10.04.001, fee established, increasing the engineering plan review, inspection, and testing services fee to 4% of the estimated cost of public improvements in and adjacent to a requested plat or development, providing a repealing clause and a severability clause, providing a penalty not to exceed $2,000, finding that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed was noticed and is open to the public as required by law.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. Robbie?
Yes, Mayor and Council, this is another item related to fees for our engineering services to review, inspect, test, and all the other activities that go along with getting public infrastructure in place that are constructed by developers within the city. We have had a fee of 3% for many years now. And in our evaluation of what is reasonable and customary for cities to charge, as we were looking at our costs for providing these services, we decided to do a study. What do other cities do? So we found that a vast majority of other cities have a 4% fee for the cost of applied to the cost of these improvements for us to provide these services. And so we would just propose that the council consider adjusting our fees from 3% to 4%, particularly for those projects that have not yet made it into the hopper, right? So the process is there's plans submitted for different projects. We do a series of reviews along with the developer and his engineering staff. And then, eventually there'll be a development agreement that occurs at the end of that to agree on the scope of the project, et cetera, et cetera. So there are a number of projects that folks have already submitted engineering plans for that I would just suggest, if you were so inclined to consider this 4%, that we say, hey, it just is going to apply for those projects where we have not yet received any engineering plans. If they're doing engineering plans, they're far enough along in their development where they've already accounted for and assumed a cost of 3%. And so it might create, although it's not a huge amount, from 3 to 4%, overall in the grand scheme of things, may not be a huge amount, but just in matter of fairness, may want to just exempt those who have already, as of today, put engineering plans into place where Wayne and his crew are already started the review. Even though it may be 2 or 3 months before we get a development agreement on some of these projects, so that I just think that would be maybe an equitable way to do this if you're so inclined to consider the 4%.
Okay, thank you, Robbie. Is there anyone here to address this item this evening? Okay, if not, we'll close public hearing and consider the adoption of ordinances. Council, questions, comments, discussion?
I have one question about the GTUA issuance, Robbie. I know we've talked in the past about the Merrily project and about them contributing, I think, $1 million or somewhere in that range of the upfront cost. Is the rest of that bond issuance going to be driven through water sales revenues? Is that what anticipating paying for that?
Yes, our water and sewer revenues are our really only recurring source, and that's of repayment of any of the debt that we have through GTUA. Now, to the extent we have kind of one-off, we throw that into the soup on a given year to help balance the budget. But yes, the short answer is we plan on the rates and therefore the usage covering all of the debt service needs for any G2A debt that we issue.
And so that, I have to imagine that there's a multiple or a multiplier there, a profit of some sort that we're still going to stand to have additional revenues that will flow back to the city to offset some of the Sherman residences' water bills once we're done.
Oh yeah, you talking about for our water sales, say bulk water to Merrily or Dorchester or some other, yeah. So those would effectively serve to keep rates down.
It'll easily cover the $2 million in debt and additionally generate additional revenues.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to approve ordinances 6365 and 6366 with the minor change that the last word in the last sentence of 6365, the wording being changed from public offering of bonds to public offering of bonds.
Okay.
With also the
Tells jokes.
contracts that have already been put into
Yeah.
engineering. But if they've already gone to engineering, those fees.
With,
Yes.
and with the change that 6366 include only things that haven't already initially been sent to the engineering department.
Second.
Okay. Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
That was Pam.
Okay. Thank you,
Me.
ma'am.
That a nay?
That was a yay.
That was a nay.
Was that
No.
All right. Any opposed? All right. Motion carries. Thank you. And if you'll read F1 for us, please. Will you read F1 for us, please?
Resolution 6711, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman authorizing and creating the Bel Air Village Public Improvement District in accordance with Chapter 372 of the Texas Local Government Code, finding that the meeting at which this resolution is passed was noticed and is open to the public as required by law.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Council, you've heard the description on E1. Do we need, it's basically the same thing. Do you want to hear it again or?
No.
Okay, we got a motion.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I was kind of listening for Pam.
I know, right?
I.
Okay. All right, Linda, if you read F2 for us, please.
Resolution 6712, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman authorizing approval of receipt of a petition from TPJ Properties Limited to create a municipal utility district over approximately 175 acres of land in Sherman, Texas, acknowledging the filing of the same petition, finding that the meeting at which this resolution is passed was noticed and is open to the public as required by law.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Can we take F3 along with F2?
Yeah, so do you want to read F3 then?
Yes, can you go ahead and read F3, Linda?
Resolution 6713, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman consenting to the creation of Heritage Ranch Municipal Utility District Number 1 of Grayson County, which lies within the corporate limits of the City of Sherman, finding that the meeting at which this resolution is passed was noticed as it is open to the public as required by law.
Thank you, Linda. Robbie?
Okay, so this is another item related to one of our larger developments, planned developments here in Sherman. It involves the creation of a municipal utility district, which is a little different than a public improvement district. We've been in discussions with the developer for a while on this creating a municipal utility district. It is another mechanism that allows the developer to recoup a portion of their cost of public infrastructure development through creating a property tax levy on the property within the geographic boundary for the MUD, as it's called. Different than the PID, which requires council action to create and administer, et cetera, the MUD actually is created by action of the state legislature after a petition and application process by the developer. As part of that application process to the state legislature, it's required that the city recognize that there has been a petition, which that's what F2 is, and then also consent to the legislature creating this MUD, which is what Resolution 6713 is. So both of these items would be necessary for the developer to take next steps in their process to ask the state legislature to take action and create this. On both of these items, there's no obligation to the city to create debt, to issue debt, either directly or indirectly. There's no backstopping of debt that may be ultimately issued by this municipal utility district. It doesn't use any sort of implied, credit worthiness of our AA tax rating. Maybe, to note, administratively, there's not really anything past these items that are being asked of us that we have on an ongoing basis, like we do in the public utility, public improvement district. We have visited with, again, both the developer and their council about this and city staff about it. Feel comfortable with the process and what they're asking of us. All the infrastructure, MUDs kind of historically have a bad name, but the reasons that they have are mitigated by the fact that this MUD is going to be within the city limits, which means that all the infrastructure will have to be developed according to existing city standards, using the materials and workmanship that are already, required by the city. So staff would recommend that you guys consider approval of both 6712 and 6713 for these reasons.
Okay. Council, any questions, discussion?
I think Mr. Teeman answered my question, and this may be a question for Ryan, but It's not their whole development.
No, it's basically their residential portion of their development, which if you look at the what was handed to you, that's got the actual meets and bounds and legal description and survey, it's even slightly different than this. This is more of a general description up on the screen of the blue lines of what the area being proposed. They're actually would propose to carve out a little 10-acre section-ish on the southwest corner of that tract that is going to be commercial, most likely. So they're really wanting to create this MUD for the residential portion of the development, which is about 175 acres.
No, I think if I understand it correct, the MUD can be expanded in phase 2 or phase 3 of a project?
They can be expanded. There's some other things about MUDs that may or may not make it ideal for commercial development. And so it'll be up to them to decide whether or not they want to expand this in the future. But I mean, Ryan can speak to that if you've got specific questions on that. But their ask tonight for sure is just for the portion east of Plainview Road that encompasses their entire, what would be about 175 acre tract that really is for their residential portion of their development. I get that right, Ryan? Okay.
Good evening, Ryan Johnson with Covenant Development, 5523 West Houston, and that is correct. This covers just the residential portion of the development, and it cannot be expanded without your consent. So if we do expand in the future, we'd have to come back with you for your consent.
And I'm guessing you would have to have legislative consent to expand that as well?
That's correct. I'm going to defer to our counsel, Mindy Kane with Coach Rose.
Hi there, Mindy Caney. I'm at 110 Shawnee Trail, Salina, Texas. You do not have to have legislative consent. By general law, you're able to expand with city's permission.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you. I move to approve.
He has a long time.
He's just making you sweat a little bit.
Okay. All right, so we got a motion. Do we have a second? Sandra, give us a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan. All right, Linda, if you'll read F4 for us, please.
Resolution 6714, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman awarding a bid to and authorizing execution of a contract with Lynn Vessels Construction LLC based on an invitation to bid for the construction of Hillary Drive Extension. Finding that the meeting at which this resolution is passed was noticed and is open to the public as required by law.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Good evening, Wayne.
Evening, Mayor, Council. This is an award for a construction contract with Lynn Vessels Construction for Hillary Drive Extension. We advertised this for public bids. We received 6 bids ranging between $283,000, $423,000. Lowest responsible bidder was Lynn Vessels Construction, $283,000. Gave us a really good price on this because it's about 19% below the second low bidder. Construction should start within a couple months, be done towards end of summer, and we need these improvements done that will allow us to close the intersection there at North Creek Drive and Knollwood Road in order to make safety improvements at that intersection and TxDOT to put in their traffic light there at that intersection.
Council, any questions? Go ahead.
I am not saying that I'm not happy that the bid is so low, but I'm concerned that we may have change orders coming back. I'm just gonna say it up front. That's a lot of difference in the price from one bid to the next.
That might be a concern with some contractors. Lynn Vessels, I hadn't had that experience with them.
I think we've seen change orders from Lynn Vessels.
I saw one went
Well,
down.
a lot of times for what you know. Well, we've had change orders to add additional work because the pricing is so good, or things that do appear out in the field that nobody knew was there.
But you're comfortable with what he gave us that,
Most certainly.
So the little red road that you got drawn on there, I just assumed it would come straight off Hillary and right in, it kind of follow that property line there. Is there a reason for that little turn? I know that's not a big deal. I'm just kind of curious.
I can't see.
Well, you do want to, preferably your intersections come in at 90 degrees with
Okay.
crossing streets. So that's ideal and is also worked out with the property owner on that alignment.
Fair enough.
Move to approve as written.
second,
Okay, motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Who was the motion, Mayor? Thank you.
thank you.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, Linda, if you'll read F5 for us, please.
Resolution 6715, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman authorizing execution of a professional services agreement with KCI Technologies Incorporated for engineering design services for the Texoma Parkway water main replacement from FM 691 to Fallon Drive. Finding that the meeting at which this resolution is passed was noticed and is open to the public as required by law.
Thank you, Linda. Tom, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. The purpose of this agenda item is to allow the engineering services to enter into contract with KCI engineers. When the project was originally placed on the CIP, Mark Gibson had said that the water line was originally installed in 1964. It is of cast iron construction. And after a certain amount of time, cast iron pipes are notorious for what they call tuberculation. It's a buildup on the inside of the pipe. And being that we suspect it's highly tuberculated, it loses pressure as water flows through it. And it also is locations to lose disinfection residual.
What size is that? The cast iron? How big is it?
It's 10-inch, I believe is what it was. We're going back with a 12-inch. I think it is 12-inch. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
So this portion of this project is just for design only. Next year, we will go out for construction costs. This should also give us a good figure to go by. We'll have a good estimate by that point. Be able to nail that down for the budget cycle.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Do you have a question? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
All right, Linda, if you'll read F6 for us, please.
Resolution 6716, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman authorizing execution of a professional engineering design services agreement with Garver LLC for design of the Ida Road Ground Storage Tank Rehabilitation Project. Finding that the meeting at which this resolution is passed was noticed and is open to the public as required by law.
Okay, thank you. Tom?
Thank you again. The purpose of this agenda item is to authorize the engineering department to enter into contract with Garver. They will design the, mostly for the ground storage tank, but it's also for some of the pump station improvements at Ida Road. It was placed on the 2020 inspection as our highest need as far as our storage tanks go.
Okay, council, any questions?
Move to approve resolution 6716.
Okay,
I'll
Second.
say,
motion, a couple of seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Linda, if you'll read F7 for us, please.
Resolution 6717, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman to consider awarding and authorizing execution of a contract for annual finish and rough mowing services. Finding that the meeting at which this resolution is passed was noticed and is open to the public as required by law.
Okay, thank you. Clint?
We're asking to award the annual mow contract to Lost Pines Landscaping. We received 3 proposals. This year, instead of doing the low bid, we did do a proposal-based system based on our history of the low bidders not being able to respond timely to the mow request. And so those 3 bidders of those three bidders, Lost Pines received the highest score. They also happened to be the lowest bidder. But we looked at the amount of equipment they had, the amount of personnel they had, and we're setting the standard, the bar pretty high on what we expected. We had 9 people show up to the pre-bid and only 3 bid. And so we felt that there were some that decided that they weren't going to make the cut anymore. We have added.
Yeah, that was a good one.
We did add some additional areas that we're finished mowing this year, West Travis Street, Moore Street, and some other areas, and also are requesting to combine this contract. In the past, Parks had a contract and Streets had a contract. Those 2 contracts are going to be combined with one group to get all of our mowing accomplished. The mowing cycle cost is about $16,000. Most of the mowing is done every 10 days, but just like mowing your yard, it depends on the rain. And so the budget is kind of hard to estimate based on typical mow cycles and how long the mowing season lasts. But we feel like this is a good price, and this Lost Pines Landscaping has great references. They've helped out Parks in the past on some projects, and we're confident that they'll do a good job for us this year.
Okay. Thank you, Clint. Council discussion, questions?
So who determines when it's time to do the cycle? Is that the city or is that the contract?
In the contract for the finished mows, it's every 10 days. And so one of the things we requested is to make sure that they could get an entire cycle done within 5 days. So if we had a rainy week, they would have the ability to actually catch up instead of just being forever behind. But typically it's on a 10-day cycle. So if we were to hit a cold spell this month and nothing grew, we would tell them to hold off a couple weeks before they get started. Typically the 10 days, once the grass starts, it's consistent. It's that October and November month that it's inconsistent, just depending on the temperatures and how fast things are going on that back end of the season.
Sounds to me like where we were falling short in the past, you've gotten on top of it in the fact that have them get done 5 days so they'll be ready for the next cycle, because some things did get overgrown.
Absolutely. Yeah. Or trash not being picked up before it was mowed. All those expectations were laid out in the pre-bid meeting.
And I noticed that it was actually in the contract for the trash to be picked up prior to mowing.
It is.
So I looked over the contract and just briefly, and I mean, it's a pretty in-depth contract, but let me ask you this, that what responsibility do we still hold in far as mowing, or is this everything? They're taking on all Parks?
And no, so Parks has major, and I don't know all the details. Sean could probably tell you. We still have our crews doing our a lot of the Parks areas. These are the smaller parks or the areas along right of ways, in the medians, those type of things.
I'm sorry, I read it, but I don't recall. Who does West Hill? Is that our group?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, our group
Yes.
continue with West Hill. Okay, good.
Do you know how many acres of mowing this is? No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
In metric, please.
Yeah, yeah.
We-
Square feet, if you don't mind.
We do have the aerial maps and all these maps in GIS, so we could get that real quick, but I don't have that right now.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay.
Motion carries. Thank you. All right, Linda, if you'll read F8 for us, please.
Resolution 6718, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Sherman approving the Greater Texoma Utility Authority's intention to contract with Red River Construction Company for construction of Post Oak wastewater treatment plant aeration and other secondary improvements project. Finding that the meeting at which this resolution is passed was noticed and is open to the public as required by law.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Tom?
We've opened bids on the aeration and bioclarifier improvements. This was actually 2 projects, our second and third highest priorities on the GTUA sponsored Texas Water Development Board through the Clean Water SRF funded project. The low bidder was Red River Construction. The estimated cost for this construction when we established the engineer's estimate was $6 million. It's what we had requested a month ago when we requested permission to advertise. Happy to announce that the low bid was at $5,644,800. This currently is under budget. We are not having to tap into a contingency, and we are $1 million under budget.
Yay.
Once awarded, it will be concurrent. Well, we had concurrence with GTUA this morning or this afternoon, but concurrent with the Texas Water Development Board's recommendation for award, we will go ahead and execute the contracts and move to notice to proceed and issue pre-construction conference as soon as possible. This was a part of the $13.595 million Clean Water SRF bond. Questions?
Okay, council, questions, discussion?
Move to approve resolution 6718.
Second. I got a motion, a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Tom. Congratulations
Yeah.
as well.
I wish I could claim all the
Save money.
Tom, we don't want to see you for another 6 months, man.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Ask us
No
for
more.
money.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next item, G1, is a request to advertise sale of approximately 15 acres of land located at FM 1417 and West Travis Street.
Yes, council, we have talked about this tract of land and owned it for a few years now. Council had made kind of the deliberate decision to hold off on sale of this property until certain things happened, like the intersection there of West Travis and 1417 being renewed or rebuilt, which it has. Opening of West Travis Street from 1417 to Highway 75, and it has. And the opening of the new Sherman High School, which it has. So we believe it's time now to look at selling this property and putting those funds to use on other capital projects. Our proposal would be to do this by sealed bid with a reserve. So, and there's only a few ways in Texas you can dispose of property in real estate. This is one of those. I didn't want to list it because, I mean, frankly, I didn't want to pay a commission to list it because I think there'll be enough interest in the property to sell it without that. But we are in the process of finalizing, getting all of our documents together. The Alta survey, the topography, the phase 1 environmental, most of those we actually already have. There's one last piece of information we're waiting on, which should come this week. So our proposal, if you guys give us the go ahead, is to package this up. We believe there's not going to be a 90 or 120 day kind of a burn-in period for folks to evaluate this, because all of the reasons that people need to evaluate, we already have answers to. In fact, we've already done some preliminary engineering on the site to determine where ground storage, stormwater storage would need to be, and roads, and inlet roads and curb cuts and all that jazz. So I feel like we've got a pretty good package of information together to give to prospective bidders. And so we would buyers / bidders. So timelines are probably bids back sometime in April. If you guys give us approval to do this, with maybe coming in May for council awarding of the bid on that.
So we established, or maybe you said that, establish
A reserve.
reserve?
I've got something in mind of just based on some comps in the area, and I don't want to price this out of the market, but I mean, we're probably going to be in the mid single digits, $5 to $6 a foot, I think. I mean, it's going to be in the bid packets anyway, so it's not like we're putting information out there that's not going to be available to folks. But That's about there's about 630 to 650,000 square feet there. So you can kind of do the math there. You know, the reserve will be somewhere in that $3.5 to $4 million range, I think, which ends up being that $5 to $6 a foot. So I think that's a reasonable, reasonable reserve to set. If you guys want to give me direction other than that on a reserve to set, I'll be all ears on that. But the reserve just sets the floor, of course, and then it'll be up to the sealed bidders to determine what they're willing to pay. We will advertise this also on LoopNet, which is kind of the commercial version of Zillow. I didn't get paid for this sponsored ads or anything, but
Enlighten me in this though, in the ACF. I had never heard of it, so I went over and looked.
yeah, it's a pretty popular site for commercial property all over the country, maybe worldwide. I don't know, but
What's it zoned, Robin?
it's C1, so it is ready to roll. And C1, in my opinion, is the best use for it. So.
And it has water and.
It's got water, it's got sewer, and if you act today, we will throw in a water tap. So
So I'm getting a little ahead of the cart here, but refresh my memory. So a certain percentage of it has to be used, the proceeds from the sale of this land.
So
Restricted in some way or not?
no, had we had this property within the reinvestment zone, within a reinvestment zone, then the proceeds would have to be used to do projects within the zone. But there is no zone there. We still haven't created a zone for this area for the but the village plan development, which might otherwise kind of extend on this little finger northward, but there's not been movement on that where we've created a reinvestment zone. So these dollars can be used anywhere for city purposes.
And I guess the fact that we're bidding it, I think the conversation was if we did not bid it, then those funds had to be used a certain way.
Yeah, so really, if it was within a TERS, then the TERS are exempt from those bidding requirements because the law also allows, because the law basically already addresses that. You don't have to bid it, but you do have to use it within this certain geographic boundary, which by law means that it's for, public purposes within that area.
But we don't have any of that.
But there is none of that. So these funds can be used, the proceeds can be used for any legitimate public purpose that we want.
So Robbie, I would recommend that, given the size of this transaction, that we maybe use some outside sources to advertise the newspaper or maybe some things of that nature to get the word out so that we're not isolated down to such a small group on a transaction like this.
Yeah, and LoopNet will do that in large part.
Yeah.
And a lot of commercial brokers use LoopNet as kind of their, one of their main sources. So
I don't think we need to pay for any advertisement.
But I mean, that LoopNet it's not free, but it's nominal compared to a 3 or 4 or 6% fee through a broker.
Maybe a big auction sign out on the property.
Yeah, we can put signage out there for sure. And so we'll do what we can to get the word out of our our selling this property is.
No, they won't.
Okay, they left. They're on our list to, we'll send offerings to those developers who are in town here as well, who have already invested and have expressed interest, kind of primed the pump a little bit that, hey, sometime in the future, we expect the council to act on this. So, but we do have this list of developers to send it to, and we'll send this to whatever developers respond and ask to be included. So, we want to get the word out and that we're open for business.
Move to approve.
Second. Okay, motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Yeah, I was listening for. Next item, let's go ahead and do H3. I know Mr. Manning's here. He's here from Waco, so let's go ahead and do H3.
Thank you. Yes, Patillo Brown and Hill performed our annual audit this year, and I'm sorry. And John Manning is here to tell you about the results of the audit. The audit committee has reviewed the audit and has recommended it to the city council for approval.
Mayor and council, thank y'all for letting me be here. As Mary did mention, we did meet with the audit and finance committee, not last Friday, but the Friday before, and had probably about an hour and 15-minute discussion on the financial statements as a whole. So I'm going to keep my comments brief and high level. But the main thing that we were here for is to express an opinion on the financial statements of the city of Sherman. And that's what this document says, is that it's an unmodified opinion, meaning that we did not have to modify the opinion for anything that the city didn't have ready for us, or that the city's finances didn't meet GAAP. So of the 4 types of opinions that we can offer, the unmodified is the highest level of assurance that we can offer. So that's not just a finance department thing. They were very key in having that. But as you can see, you know, there's bids, there's all types of things that the city does, that the unmodified opinion is really a team effort, not just one area. We talk to people about fraud. We interview other departments to see how their procedures go, and everybody is extremely responsive. And I think that's one of the reasons why you guys do have an unmodified opinion. If you want to look at some of the financials, if you look, the audit opinion is on page 1 and 2. And if you look at starting on page 3, Mary and her team do a super job of what's called the management's discussion and analysis, which GASB put this in here for people that don't do what Mary and I do all day, which is look at financials. So this kind of goes through and gives a narrative of what happened during the year, and not just have to be able to look at numbers. So if you want to look there, if you look at page 5, I think one of the things that stands out is I know everybody is sensitive to long-term debt. And if you look here, the city decreased their debt by about $9 million. That was with their regularly scheduled bond payments. And that was also due to a significant decrease in the pension liability. And that is because of the assets that are held at TML performed extremely well in that 2019 market year. So I think that's one of the things that stands out there. If you'll also look on page 6, both the governmental and business type activities, which is your general fund, debt service, and your water sewer, both of those type of activities both have positive net positions, which is a signal of financial strength. So we applaud the city on having the resources that were available there. If you look at page 21, you can see that is your revenue and expenditures for your general fund. And you can see there that this year, even with what's been going on the last year, about a year ago today, you guys were able to add about 1.3 million to fund balance. So I think that had a lot to do with conservative budgeting and revenue still coming in line with projections. So that puts fund balance at about 12.7 million, which is about right where you need to be as far as what GFOA recommends, which is about 3.5 to 4 months of reserves in fund balance. So again, applaud the city there for having that financial stability. If you look at page 26, you can see that water sewer has about a $28 million net position. Again, very solid there as well. And with this year, with the coronavirus relief fund, the city again was eligible to have a single audit, which we did test those programs. We did the CDBG program, and we did not have any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies to report to council. So again, if you look at the budget to actual document, very conservative budgeting principles. And we just don't have anything bad to say at all. I mean, we get, Mary and her team get us those numbers, and what you're getting on an interim basis is extremely reliable, because when we get those items, all we're really having to do is do some year-end adjustments to get things caught up to 9/30 that don't really impact the income statement. So
All in all, a great effort by a lot of city personnel. And if you guys have some questions for me, I'd be glad to entertain those now. But if you don't, Mayor and Council, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us and look at these in a lot of detail. And we appreciate working with the city.
Okay. Any questions for John, Council?
So you're saying it was good?
And that's no surprise. I mean, this is the third year of our rotation. The city does a good job of rotating auditors where there's not, not stagnant, where people are just go through the motions and get these things done. So, again, a super product.
Mr. Mayor, I move to accept.
Second.
Okay, motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Robbie.
Appreciate your
See you
time.
again. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You can
Appreciate
stay for the
driving
rest
up,
of the
John.
meeting if you want, or you can head back down to Waco, your choice.
Got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, thank you, John. All right, at this point, we'll receive the semi-annual report on the Sherman Cultural District. Eddie, now you can come on up. Sorry about that.
Good afternoon. Eddie Brown, 2506 Creek Bend Circle, Sherman. It's my pleasure to represent the Sherman Cultural District Committee here as their chair this year. And I think you've got a copy of our report in your packet, but I'll go through that and touch on most of the highlights with you. And we've had a great year. I want to tell you, this is the report from September of 2020 through March of 2021. We've got 8 Cultural District Advisory Council and committee meetings this year. Delivery completed for the Public Art Master Plan back in October. And also back in October, the National Arts and Humanities Month promotion. Coordinated with Sherman ISD, Night Furniture and Mattress, the elementary arts show, which is still going on, I believe they're in their store. There was no Art Dash this year in 2021. However, there will be one in 2022, so look forward to that. Sherman Cultural Arts District Umbrella Troop participated in the 2021 St. Patrick's Day Parade. That was exciting. We won second place, had a lot of fun. We promoted the arts events in Sherman, website updates, new wayfinding signs are being designed and in production from March to May of this year. And then the mural program research and planning for future projects is underway as well. Now on the new wayfinding signs for the Cultural District, the production of the signs is underway currently. New sign installation is scheduled for early May of this year, supported by $4,800 from the Texas Commission of the Arts Cultural District Grant. Signs are produced by local business and installed by the Sherman Street Department. Thank you. Using Sherman Cultural District unique colors, the Sherman logo, and easy to read lettering provide a fresh and engaging new brand for the signs. The signs are easy to read and creating a more useful, user-friendly experience in downtown. With the new directional signs along major streets, the project will include a map of downtown destinations at the kiosk on Houston Street and Crockett. Plans for official unveiling will be announced sometime in May of this year. Plans include coordinated banners, clutter cleanup, streetscape elements, defined artwork focusing on rejuvenating Wall Street, and then art tours. And then our coming events are in May, the wayfinding sign unveiling. In the summer of this year, we'll have the mural creation on Wall Street, youth art project, and additional exhibits. August the 2nd, and you'll like this, is the annual taco tour. Remember last year, it's coming back again this year, and we'll have new additions as well. September, of course, is Arts Fest. The Cultural District Advisory Council is made up of 11 of our community members, program support from Austin College, Texas Commission on the Arts, and of course, the City of Sherman as well. The featured photo for the March edition of the Texas Commission of the Arts News
is a picture from Sherman. And I believe it's a Hot Summer Nights picture as well, which is pretty nice on the front cover. We're proud that our city's cultural district is represented in statewide news. And I want to thank each and every one of you for all your help and your support. And a big thank you to Carrie Wacker, who puts all this together and gives us the opportunity to come together as creative minds and help out Sherman. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks, Eddie.
All right. Next item, H2, repair and rework the Stevens IT well under an emergency designation. Tom?
Tell him not to come back.
Well, last time he was up, he saved us $1 million, so
Oh, yeah.
I'm okay with him coming
They're
up.
about to even out.
I wish this was better news. The Stevens well, 1 Trinity, the well has failed. We had Weisinger. They're the company that we've used several times. They pull the well and give us a recommendation as to what the problem is. This particular time, they found that the motor bearing went bad. When the motor bearing went bad, it caused the pump bowl to also go bad. So the well is in need of a new motor and bearing. Unforeseen circumstances. The contractor that we have allowed on emergency designation was Weisinger. We did do competitive bidding on Luella 3T well, as you may remember, where Weisinger was a low bid by competitive methods. And they're the contractor that we were using on an emergency designation this time as well. Therefore, with council approval, I'd like to be able to proceed with this project as we have it.
Council discussion, questions for Tom?
What happens if we don't approve it?
And we don't get the water.
I move to approve.
I second.
Gotta have water.
We saw what it was like without.
So
water.
what caused it to go out? Was the bearings?
Pardon?
The bearings caused it to go out?
They wore out, yes, sir. Just like this particular pump is a submersible pump. So the power cord goes 1,100 feet underground.
Right.
And so the pump's way down there, you can't really see what's going on. Then when it started throwing the bearings, throwing the breaker, had the contractor come in, they pull it out of the hole. And just kind of like on your engine, except when the motor bearing went out, it caused the pump also to fail. So it was kind of catastrophic. So this, the estimate is for a new motor and a new bearing. The lead time is at least 2 to 3 weeks, and we need that well back up as soon as possible.
Okay, so we've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Hey,
Please
thank
proceed,
you.
Tom.
Is that a well that they're on Burge in Washington? Was there 2 wells there? And I noticed the city has come in there and taken something out. What is
At Burge and Ricketts?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's our Fairview well and pump station there, right? Yeah.
But there was one across the street and had a fence around it and they tore it.
That well's been abandoned for a long time.
Long
Yeah,
time.
that's been abandoned for quite a while.
It looks like they're turning it in maybe to parkland or something.
It could. Yeah, we've been talking about doing that with parks.
Yeah, I
But,
just noticed. I didn't know if that was.
Yeah. And that's why the Fairview well doesn't pump, that Fairview system doesn't pump a lot.
So Jim, why did the yellow flowers grow in a circle on top of that? Well. You know what I'm talking about? It's a tank underground. And it grows yellow flower.
Hey, that's high quality H2O right there.
That's right.
Thank you.
It's the craziest, it's like a crop circle.
Maybe aliens. All right. Linda, will you read H4 for us, please?
Sorry.
She's thinking about crop circles still.
I was still thinking about the flowers. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm sorry, was that H4, Mayor?
Yes, we're to H4.
Consider approval of the annexation scheduling plan for adoption of approximately 24.415 acres of land located east of US Highway 75, south of Park Street, and along East Sherman Street, adjacent to the Sherman city limits and in the city of Sherman's extraterritorial jurisdiction, and directing the Department of Engineering Services to develop a service plan for the area to be annexed upon approval of the annexation scheduling plan.
Okay. Thank you, Linda. Glenn?
We're asking tonight for approval of an annexation schedule for this 24 acres of land south of Park Street, near Montgomery Street. The owner has submitted development plans already to the engineering department for single family subdivision. This subdivision will meet all of the current city ordinances, will include extension of water, sewer, streets, and storm drainage. And approval will set the public hearing for the adoption of the annexation for April the 5th.
Okay. Thank you, Clint. Council discussion, questions about the schedule?
Move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. I was waiting. All right, Linda, if you'll read H5 for us, please.
Received presentation from Police Chief Zachary Flores and Hydell and Associates Architect Aaron Babcock on the schematic design for the Sherman Police Department headquarters.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, council members, I'm excited to be back here tonight to provide you an update on the Sherman Police Headquarters project that we've been working on. The presentation I have for you tonight is really building upon the presentation that you received back in January. If you recall at that presentation, we looked at the site layout and we looked at the conceptual floor plans and the layout of the actual facility. And then we touched upon the different elements that we use as inspiration for us to develop the three-dimensional aspect of the facility, touching on both municipal architecture and then architectural elements here in the city of Sherman. I want to take you through the facility layout again and the building massing just to familiarize yourself with the project again, and then we'll start to look at the architectural elements and how they relate to the proposed concept that we have tonight. So the facility layout itself, if you'll recall, it is at the corner of West Travis and Northgate. The project or the site itself has a considerable amount of grade. It goes from low at the corner of Northgate to West Travis. If you follow the arrow, it goes to the high part of the site. Our site layout, as we've oriented the buildings, we have two facilities. We have a main facility and then an annex facility. We're tiering them on the site, so we're trying to take advantage of the slope of the site. So at West Travis in the corner of Northgate, sort of our low area, we build up to the building, which is the main facility, and then we step on up to the annex facility. In 3 dimensions, what that looks like in the massing, on the left-hand side, you'll see we basically have a lower level where we would have our public parking. It steps up to that middle level, which is about a 6-foot difference between the public parking and the main facility. And then we have an upper level, which has the annex and then some additional secure parking. That's another 6 foot. So we're taking up about 12 foot of the grades that are there naturally, and we're doing it across the contours, trying to be as efficient as we can on the site. This does provide us an advantage for a police station with the public parking being at a lower level. So we're going to have some secure fencing around this facility, and between the public parking and the actual facility itself, we will have a stone retaining wall, which will provide an impact barrier to the police station. So once again, we're trying to use the site as our advantage. And in a police station specifically, we want to have some sort of barrier between a vehicle and ramming into the facility itself. I want to briefly touch on the architectural vision. So as you'll recall, last time I was here, we talked about some different elements, not only for municipal architecture, but different elements that we see within the city of Sherman. So from symmetry to the defined entry, materials of masonry and stone, angular roofs, the rhythm of elements, those things that we find in the older projects around town, to more natural light and glass facades that we start to see in a more modern municipal facility. So we use these as really our inspiration in developing the three-dimensional aspect of the concepts that you're going to see tonight. So the massing itself, this is a view from Northgate Drive. So it's an aerial view. You're seeing the main facility. You're seeing really the eastern facade of the main building, and then back in the left-hand corner, you see the annex facility itself. As far as the massing goes, on the annex facility, you see an angular roof, and then you see 3 angular roofs, 2 on either side of the main facility and 1 at the main entry. So we're picking up on those repeating elements, and we're picking up on these angular roofs that we start to see that are more common in municipal architecture itself, as well as then we're starting to look back at some of the historical architectural elements that we see of columns at the front entries or columns at the main entry points of the facility. This shot is still on Northgate Drive, really an aerial shot more towards the front entry, looking at the meeting room and the main entry portion of it. If you're looking at this facade, you do see the one vertical element at the front of the building, and you're starting to see the curved stone wall or retaining wall I talked about and the stairs leading up to it. So we're raising the verticality of the main entry. What that does for us is you as a user, as you come up to the facility, it makes it pretty intuitive to know that the main entry is at this higher volume space. The other item that we're highlighting here is in the blue, you'll start to see the glass that we're proposing on the facility. We not only have it in the front of the facility, but we are using it in higher clear story areas in the back portion of it. What that's allowing us to do is put some natural light down within the main area of the facility. There's a main corridor that we're trying to light up with natural light so that the staff that's working there, they start to get some natural light even if they weren't at an exterior window. This is a shot more from West Travis, looking back at the facility itself. Once again, you're seeing those glass facades and you're seeing those roof overhangs that we have. The picture that you see down at the bottom, that gives you an idea of what the facility might look like at night, to where that main entry starts to sort of glow like you would have a lantern glow at night. So once again, not only in the daytime is it a vertical element that makes it intuitive to know where you're entering the facility, but then at night with the use of glass, we're lighting it up. It becomes very intuitive at night as well. This is just more of an aerial shot to where you're seeing the annex in the background and the main facility up front. Here you're seeing 2 blue colors. What those are representing at this point is masonry and stone. So the different elements, and we see that a lot, not only in the historic facilities, but newer facilities here in Sherman, a mix of the masonry and stone elements. And we're proposing that we would repeat that type or set up a rhythm on our facility that would have both masonry and stone. And then the yellow portions of glass that you're seeing, within this facility, we have a rhythm of elements, not only in the canopies that we talked before, but we have glass that wraps the corner, and that's consistent around the facade. So we're getting those repeating elements throughout the facility. This is a shot from the secure parking lot. So off of Northgate Drive, if you came into the facility, here you're seeing sort of the backside of what the main PD building would look like, as well as the annex facility itself. The annex facility, like I said, is about 6 feet above this other one, and directly across, really from the annex building, just a little bit to the south of it, is fire station number 4. And fire station number 4 has some canopy elements to it, as well as it has sort of a dark brown charcoal color to it. And what we're proposing is that we start to relate to those canopies on our facility, as well as then that darker brown charcoal color, to where we can utilize, the idea with the annex facility is we're trying to utilize a more economical building system, and the fire station number 4 utilized that as well. It's a pre-engineered metal building. We would use a smooth metal panel on it, and we would match the color. So we'd have an angle of the roof that repeats from the main facility to the annex facility, and then we would start to repeat that color, not only on the main building on the roofs, but then the annex facility on the facades itself, as well as then the eyebrow canopies. Obviously, they wouldn't be red because this is not a fire station, but we would repeat that element so that if you're seeing both facilities,
you'd start to see how we're repeating those elements. Conceptual renderings, like I said, we really are at the concept stage. We're here today to present where we're at. These give you a more realistic version of some of the views that you've seen previously. I have two sets of materials. We do not have a definite material palette on here, but we are looking at the use, and my clicker doesn't seem to want to click. Is it going? Okay, there we go, awesome. So we're talking on this of using three different types of elements. The brick that we've talked about, a smooth stone that we've talked about, and a rough stone. The idea being the rough stone might be that curved facade that we have at the bottom. That's the transition between our public parking and the main facility, as well as using that rough stone at the columns. And then we would have a brick in rhythm. In between that, we would have then a smooth stone. So we're starting to create this palette that we would use throughout the facility itself. That the banding you're seeing in there would either be the rough or smooth stone. This gives you a better idea of the front view. I know the view's a little washed out, but this gives you the idea of the lantern effect that we talked about. So, you know, it is a PD. We want it to be secure, but we also, you know, want it to be intuitive when somebody comes. They would see the main lobby. They'd be drawn to that, understanding that they can see into it at night. Backside of it, you're seeing the annex. That's sort of that charcoal brown color that we're talking about that would match what's on the fire station, as well as then the angular roofs. We are repeating then that brick and stone facade around the main facility of the PD. This version just gives you a little subtle difference. This would be utilizing, instead of more of a brownish masonry, we'd use a red masonry. And like I said, we haven't made a definite decision on this, but to give you an idea, you know, the building can take on a different character just by changing the materials itself. So that's one of the things we're going to look through a lot of different types of materials to understand what's going to be the best solution. Once again, the red facade, and then it's carried onto the backside itself. That is the portion of my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have them.
Great job.
So, council, next steps, by the way, I mean, they're making great progress on their design and thematic elements of this, as you saw. So, we will have a presentation at one of our 2 days of our budget workshop. And maybe even a tee up of it at our, we have a CIP separate meeting now. So they'll have, by that time, they will have completed renderings, very, very good cost estimates. Yes.
That's right.
So we'll be able to have a should be a very finished product look at what the final is going to be at that time. So just a little teaser, right?
That's right.
Okay, so that's May, June timeframe.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Aaron.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, we are to media questions. Then, okay, we're to council comments. Josh, I'm gonna start with you tonight.
No comments, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
No comment.
Okay,
No comment.
No comment.
okay. Pam, you got any comments?
Just be very appreciative of the nice warm weather there. I'm in California and it is really cold. I'm wearing a winter coat.
Are you sure you're in California?
I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area. Yeah, I know where I am, and yes.
All right. Very good. Safe travels and return. All right,
Thank you.
just a few announcements this evening. I want to thank Sarah, Michelle, the rest of the great staff who helped put on Sherman's second annual St. Patrick's Day Parade this weekend. I was out of town, unfortunately, not able to attend, but I've heard from numerous people about what a fun event it was. So thank you again to all those who helped make it happen. And I hope you all will make plans to join us on Friday, April 2nd at the beautifully new First United Bank location on Taylor Street for coffee with the mayor. This will be our annual reveal of the Hot Summer Nights lineup. So make sure you come out and see that. First Friday, April 2nd, 8 a.m. come on out. And finally, mark your calendars for Saturday, April 24th. Downtown Sherman now will be hosting a huge sidewalk sale around Courthouse Square. More than 25 local businesses will be participating, so y'all come out starting at 9 a.m. All right, the city council will now hold a closed executive session pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act at section 551.087 to deliberate the offer of a financial or other incentive to a business prospect. So at 6:45, we'll go into executive session. Thank you.
Being old and unhealthy.